I'm Rory Williamson from Williamson & Co Real Estate, and I absolutely love living in this unique part of the world. And when you mention Noosa or the Sunshine Coast, people instantly think of the gorgeous beaches, the laid-back lifestyle and the near-perfect weather. But what makes a place really special are the people that live there. One of the perks of my job is I get to meet people every day, and everyone has a story. Come and join me as we meet some of the most interesting characters of the coast. Boys, firstly, thank you for your time today and having us here. This place is amazing. I mean, it's an institution. Everyone that I know from, Sydney, Melbourne, it's like, have you made your booking at some young guys? You've just been named in the hottest 50 restaurants in the Australian. Congratulations.
Thank you.
With all the big boys, it's great. I don't think anyone else on the Sunshine Coast has had that. Did you guys predict any of this when you started, some young guys?
No. And that's the thing, when people ask us that, it truly has gone above and beyond what we ever thought was going to happen. Like we were just saying before, when we kicked off, we thought, if it's quiet, we'll do breakfast as well. We could do, a little something in between lunch and dinner to fill the gaps. And now it's, we try to delay the kickoff as much as possible.
As far as we can.
Yeah.
Our first 3 days of trading were open from 12 till late. There was no break in between it. Yeah. As I said, that only lasted for 3 days before there was yelling at stop taking people.
So you guys all met, Mo, Jeremiah, and you guys met at Bistro C about 10 years ago. Yeah. That's where it all started. Who out of the four of you made that first phone call when you'd all gone off and done your own thing to say, hey, let's get the band together? How did that reconnection happen?
Yeah, I'd sort of...
We all point to Matt.
Yeah, I guess. It's quite funny because I guess I all had separate relationships with the boys when we first all met. And then after I finished the whole MasterChef thing, Mo and I had the idea to kick off with the food trucks and whatever. And then when we outgrew that and we wanted to go bigger, we knew that we needed a bigger crew. And there was the two other people that were at the top of the list was Jezza and Dill. Jez was working at Woodfire Grill at the time. He was the head chef there. Dylan was somewhere in Mexico. And I was like, hey, buddy, how do you think about coming back with, this is what we're thinking, this is where our heads are at, this is the space we're looking at, this is the style of the restaurant we're working towards. We need someone to come and run the front and be, the other part of the business. So, And there wasn't really any resistance, was there? It was when we all
jumping at the opportunity.
Yeah, when the idea was there and we were sitting around talking about it, it was all in.
And you guys, you source a lot of your produce locally. What are some of the key items that you get from around here?
Gympie, Yamundi, probably Gympie, Yamundi, Yandina. They're probably the key areas. We get beef from Gympie, all of our herbs, Yamundi, the limes, he's out towards Gympie as well, like all of our citrus, seafood,
for the ginger.
Veridale for the ginger.
Every Saturday, this gentleman walks up with two big
and he always
boxes.
walks in the front, he comes in the front door,
doesn't want to use
lunch
the back
has already
door.
kicked off, and he just plonks it on the pass, and you're in the middle of cooking lunch, he's like, boys, we got the ginger, thanks mate, right on time, thanks Tarek, on you mate. I guess the geographical position of the restaurant of the Sunshine Coast, you've got the ocean, you've got the hinterland, you've got incredible conditions here to grow all of the sorts of things that we're using: ginger, lemongrass, galangal, the kaffir lime, the citrus, the green mangoes that are coming in now. It's on the doorstep, and that's why I think it was the perfect fit for us to, aside from the fact of loving this style of cuisine, where we are can certainly support it and sustain it with the stuff that we're using.
Yeah, great. And cocktails are a massive part of the menu too. Now, Dylan, that's your domain. I mean, Pablo Cervecerías, mate, I've never had a better cocktail in my life. It is awesome.
Originals, and then we took it off.
Did that come out of your brain, mate? It's beautiful.
Just playing around with, trying to do Asian ingredients in lots of classic cocktails, and then trying to create new things, but it's such a simple concept. And yeah, as Matt said, it was on the very, very, very first menu that we did, and we then took it off the menu when we did our second menu, and there was a bit of an uproar. There was people still ordering them. So we still had the ingredients for them, and it went back on the menu.
Yeah.
So
It's a hell of a name too.
Yeah.
It's a good name for it.
Yeah.
Speaking of names, who came up with the name Some Young Guys?
Jeremiah. He's the up there with the cheekiest of the bunch.
Oh, yeah.
So it obviously comes from the whole Wayne's World
Movie
section of that movie. Before we even kicked off, remember there was a guy over in the States, and he'd picked it up, and he was like posting all this stuff that, where shouldn't you be using that name, and it's this and it's that, and we kind of freaked out a little bit and went, oh, is it going to be pushing it too far? And we just thought, no. So and it's worked. It is catchy. The branding, everything it was the perfect fit for us, and it does also capture who we are.
Yeah.
We're a couple of young lads doing our thing, and that's what this place is about.
Yeah, on the website it mentions that the interior encapsulates the 4 personalities of the boys. What are some of those elements of personality?
We had, how was the restraint we had to place on Jeremiah? He wanted neons everywhere.
Instead of regular lights, they'd just be neon lights.
Neons. He goes, I want people to walk out of here tired.
Yeah.
Because it's been such a sensory overload. We're like, I think we need to tone that down just a little bit, Jez.
The Street Fighter theme in the mural there, that would have just been a full action Street Fighter kind of mural if we had let him go crazy on it. So
But it's a part of, that's a part of our childhood, playing those sorts of video games. The things like the rickshaw and that, they bring authenticity, but it's also a reflection of our travels, and of course the food. And the personality, it's loud, it's boisterous, it's intense. And that's
like the 4 of us.
It's just like the 4 of us. Just like we like to think that's what we put into the food and the drinks, the staff that we hire. Everything's got to have that same level across the board.
Yeah, it's such an integral part of when you come here. It is like the 5th member of the team when you work. It's got its own personality. Yeah. Was it a local person that did this? Was it?
Well, we got assistance from a girl called Shan, but I think she felt like she was just getting bulldozed every time with her ideas, because Jezza was like, nah, let's replace that with the neon. Let's replace that with this. But she did help us.
She threw the white flag in, halfway through, and go, you guys can just continue doing what you're doing, and I'll come in 2 days before,
and finish it all.
You open and just do little decorative things, because as Matt said, we bulldozed over her with, no, we don't want to do a plain white wall there. We want to put something there.
We didn't want it to be to have that just Scandinavian feel about it. It's been done. That's not who we are. And she was good. She let us go with that. But our parents chipped in. Dill's mum and dad were in painting and hooking up lights. My dad was in here building the bench seat in the courtyard, and it was really just to kind of make it up as we go along, and look at what we had.
Most people have, an exact plan that you follow off and tick off, and we were kind of just like, there was a circle in the middle of this big white piece of paper, and off was just things, ideas that we wanted to do, and if we got round to lots of them, that was awesome. Or if we had the budget. Yeah, exactly. The budget.
We did the budget we did the fit out on a pretty slim budget. And I think it just goes to show you don't need $1 million fit out to make the magic happen.
One of the funniest comments someone said to me one time when they came in was, it looks like you've just fitted it out from an op shop. And I was kind of like, you're right on the money. You are right on the money.
Really? We nailed the brief.
There are so many great dishes here, but I got to say there is a quiet fan club out there for your roti. It is crazy. It's legendary. I have dreams about it. I've woken up with a doona in my mouth. It's weird. I'm a big fan. What is the key? I've had so many rotis, but I've never had one like that. What's the key to a good roti?
It's not the ingredients, I don't think. I think across the board, the ingredients are pretty standard. It's the technique. It's the technique, getting it really nice and fine. The way that it's stretched out. We knew that it was going to be a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
We remember having that conversation saying if we put it on, we know it's going to have to stay on, but it is incredibly labour-intensive. We obviously feel that more now than before because of the numbers that we're doing. Yeah. But it's more in the technique, and that's the thing. People think there's a secret ingredient. I was just recently did it in a demo, and people were, saying, "Oh, he's going to leave something out.
Yeah.
He's going to leave out an ingredient." honest to God, we don't. And I'm pretty sure the recipe's out published there somewhere. But it's the technique. It's stretching it out nice and fine and then cooking it off in a truckload of ghee.
Yeah,
great.
That's the secret.
and making them every day.
Making them every day.
There's someone that flips roti for 4 to 5 hours every day here.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Lots of people will buy store-bought roti and you can cook them up the same way, but if they've been sitting in a bag or delivered from wherever they're delivering them from, you're never going to get the same produce.
So yeah.
Product.
Yeah. If you're on a deserted island and you can only have one Some Young Guys dish, which one would it be to date?
Oh, deserted island. So I'm going to want something fatty.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I know you won't pick this because it's not your style. I'd probably go with the Crying Tiger, so the beef short rib, something like that. Good. Nice. The sauce on it now is nice and punchy. There's some good heat.
The current one is
good.
Is very different to the original one, and I prefer that. But for me, I'm more like I would go either the Kingfish, the Wagyu Tartare that we've got on there.
He said one, mate.
Or larb. Yeah. I can't choose.
The Kingfish has probably got to be up there. I think that's the one thing. We recently thought about changing it, and we're trying a couple of different things. We went, no.
Please don't, Matt. Please don't. I came with my wife and we got it for a starter. We also got it for dessert. I'm not kidding you. We got it at the end. We're like, should we get dessert? No, let's get another Kingfish.
It's a perfect way to kick off.
Yeah.
It's punchy, it's sharp, it's got some heat in there, and of course the Kingfish again incredibly fresh and. Yeah. So that's probably the best seller, actually.
Yeah. Matt, you're obviously on MasterChef. Mate, what are the pros and the cons about being on a show like that?
Pros of being on a show like MasterChef. I think the network that I've been exposed to and been able to be a part of, the people within the industry and that community has been phenomenal, and definitely people that I wouldn't have contact with otherwise. So I'd have to say that's the biggest plus. I guess the publicity and everything that comes around it, I think that's where it becomes a double-edged sword. Yeah. And when we first opened here, yes, there was a lot of attention and yes, it brought a lot of people in, but it also brings in the haters. People come in wanting it to be bad, you know, so they can say, he's just a TV cook.
Still to this day it happens.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, I don't need to prove anything now. So the restaurant speaks for itself, and the only reason why it's been a success is not just me. It wouldn't work without the four of us.
No.
Anything we do has to be the four of us. So yeah, it was a double-edged sword with that sort of stuff, and you still get the hecklers, but yeah.
What would you say to young restaurateurs or people that want to get in the game? What would your little bit of advice to them be?
Probably spend 10 years in it before you think of doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what will decide the serious ones, and if you're still that passionate about it after 10 years, and you feel like you're equipped, you've got the skills, you've got the crew. Again, having that network, I think that's what you'd want to be doing.
I think one of the biggest things we ever spoke about, before this was an idea, back in the day, knock off drinks after work, talking about, we should do something together, we should, get away from doing this for someone else. It was always, if you want to open up a restaurant, you've got to have someone in the front of house being an owner and someone in the back of house being an owner. Yeah. And it really shows that, because you can pay someone as much as you want, but at the end of the day, there's always going to be, a point where it gets a little bit too hard or that type of thing when you're paying someone, whereas when you're doing it for yourself, there's nothing that's too hard, that goes into the too hard basket, or no, I'm doing too many hours, I won't worry about it today. You've got that from both aspects of the restaurant, so that's where it really shines. You've got lots of restaurants that have got someone that owns it as a front of house and they're struggling with the kitchen, or vice versa, the kitchen's struggling with the front of house. If you have both aspects covered with that love and passion for it, that's where I see the drive and the strength behind what we do.
Yeah.
Now, the takeaway closed down. I've lost 10 kilos since that happened. I'm kind of happy about that. So's my wife. But the people of the area might want to know why that happened.
Closing the takeaway, it was a unanimous decision. Yeah. I think it was probably a bigger beast than what we were prepared for, to be honest, but a totally different business model to run. In the restaurant, you understand, you walk in, you have a look at the bookings, you know how busy it's going to be. In the takeaway, there'd be nights where it'd be an absolute bull rush and they'd get smashed, and then the other nights it'd be quieter. So it's really hard to gauge and manage that. And then with everything that was going on in the restaurant, it was, it's become a lot busier than when it first started. So trying to manage the numbers in here and prep for both, managing the staffing levels, all of that was coming into play. And we thought, well, for the sake of being able to take best possible care of the restaurant, and not sort of spread ourselves too thin, if we shut down the takeaway side of it, use that kitchen next door to sustain the restaurant. We have pretty much 2 people in there 15 hours a day prepping next door to keep up with what's happening here. So if we then unleash the takeaway as well, something was going to suffer. And I think hand on our hearts, we knew we were not going to let anything happen to the restaurant. So we just had to make that strategic decision, I guess, and be a little bit measured about it. To make sure the restaurant stayed afloat.
Quality over quantity will always be, a big motto for us and the drive behind things. So quantity if we want the takeaway, but then quality
something was going to slip.
Yeah, something always gives.
Yeah. Not that you get many nights off, boys, but if you had a night off, is there a restaurant or a takeaway or somewhere you'd go on your night off for a feed?
You know what we honestly enjoy doing on a night off, and people might think it's strange, is getting together. So going to someone's house, having a barbecue, making some pizzas, having a couple of beers, and doing what we used to do when we were friends before having the business, and being able to continue to reconnect as mates. And not have this on our mind and not have discussions about what's happening in the building.
Yeah.
Just to really get away from it and be in our own space. Go down to the river, have a couple of beers down there, get some fish and chips. Something really, really simple like that is a good night off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if you could go to any restaurant in the world or sit in front of any chef in the world and eat his food or her food, who would that be?
That's a hard one.
Jesus. Any chef, any restaurant in the world. You go first.
I would love to one day go to Noma in Copenhagen. It's so different to, what we do here and so different to so many things you can find in Australia, but the gastronomy behind it, all of that type of thing. I guess I probably have a small connection. I used to work with a guy that is now one of the head chefs, the sous chefs over there. So that always intrigues me. I watch him on social media and the things that they're doing and the restaurant itself. There's so many restaurants out there and so many incredible chefs that you would love to do. Like the one dish, one restaurant, it's a hard question.
You've eaten there. I think I'd really want to go to Burnt Ends in Singapore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
amazing.
I think they do some really cool stuff. It's Singapore?
Yeah,
in Singapore. Places in Singapore, Hong Kong. I think that'd be the area that I'd be going, because they're, you see some of the stuff they're doing over there. It's elite, and I think that's where I want to be eating.
What is next for you young guys? Is there a potential second restaurant? What's on the cards?
We're looking not past second restaurants, like 15, 16.
No, God, no. No. In all honesty, there's been conversations floated about looking into catering, but trying to look down more bigger corporate style events. Because we've got the kitchen accessible next door, which is fully equipped to cater for big numbers. So that would be a nice fit. So they're things, we're coming to the new year, we've allocated a block of time where we're going to have off together to sit down and sort of bounce around a few strategies. I think we are at that point, though, we're still a little bit young, ambitious and stupid, so we like looking at what's next, and something to sink our teeth into, whether it's an extension of this or something totally different, who knows. But we're definitely up for another challenge.
Yeah, great. This is a bit left field. First
I like left field.
music first music album you ever bought?
Hit Machine 14. I couldn't even tell you what's on it, but Hit Machine 14 is the first one that's popping out. I think it's up to about Hit Machine 114 now. But yeah, that was the one that stands out. That was
are they
Savage
like
Garden.
the So Fresh ones?
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
So
All the
Fresh
bangers
would
of
be
that
up there.
era. Hit Machine 14. Check it out.
I was the only thing I kind of think of myself would be like Blink 182 or something.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Don't worry, mate. Mine was the Bangles, and you probably don't even know who they are. I'm showing my age here. Walk like an Egyptian. Doom digga did it. No, I can't.
No idea.
All right, I've lost you.
Sorry.
There. I've
I
lost
think
you.
you've
there.
lost everyone in this group.
All right. If you weren't in the restaurant game, what other career would you potentially see yourself doing?
You know where I think I was going to end up if I wasn't in
gypsy.
hospitality? A PE teacher. That was kind of like the backup plan. Now I couldn't think of anything worse. To be honest. Yeah, I would have gone down that line, I reckon. Teaching.
I was in my last year before we opened this. I was doing a lot of traveling, a lot of surfing, but also doing a lot of yoga. My parents own a yoga studio. I grew up doing a lot of yoga. And it was probably a month before Matt called that I was about to sign up to do a year's worth of Iyengar teacher training. So I was going to go in and like follow the family business of
You look at this guy now and how polished he looks.
yoga.
Oh, he looked like Castaway when he got home. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
Boys, thank you so much, mate. You've made our little pocket of the world a little bit more special, and everyone I talk to just loves this place. So just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.